Courtney Luna, what an absolute honor it is to welcome you back to Boundless Body Radio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I'm glad I got the wear your gray t-shirt and sit on the floor memo. Like we are vibing.
We are vibing, of course. It's so funny. I didn't know you also recorded content while sitting on the floor. Yeah, just kind of a weird habit that I started and it stuck. And so here I am just sitting down with my toe spacers and sitting on my grounding mat and yeah, just having a good old time.
Yep, here I am too. Maybe I can sell some books and, buy a desk and a chair.
That's great. Our purpose today is to sell some books to fund that desk and chair. Courtney, okay, it was a few days ago. I received your book. Thank you so very much for sending it to me. I really, really appreciate it. I thumbed through it, immediately knew that I liked it. As soon as I got through it, hands down, hands down, this is the best carnivore diet cookbook I have found, and I've seen a lot of them. I have a lot of them, and this one is the best one by far. No offense to anybody else, but you knocked it way out of the park. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I was a little nervous doing the whole thing because I think a lot of these cookbooks they have a team that is cooking the food and shooting it and styling it. So I actually can't talk either. I actually had to do all that myself. So a little tiny corner in my kitchen, I'm doing all the cooking and then I throw it down on a little staged thing and take all the pictures myself. And I'm not a photographer. I'm not a food stylist. Like I'm a cook, so I can do the cooking part. So yeah, I think my editing team did a really good job at like cropping and brightening things up. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh, I didn't do as bad as I thought I would do. So thank you.
It completely stuns me that you did that yourself. It looks completely professional. Looks like it was done by somebody who is like formally trained in that. So congratulations on making all the food look really good. It's plated really well. Yeah, we'll get into the recipes and everything. First, also, I wanted to bring up, I've got a client I've been working with. It's a couple, primarily the female. They live in New Zealand, an absolutely lovely couple. We work with Carnivore Diet with them. So shout out to them. They'll know who they are. And our last session, the last question she had for me, since she's been seeing it going around on social media, was, hey, did you get Courtney's cookbook? Which she has had pre-ordered for months now. She's been waiting for it. And I don't think the shipping to New Zealand is very, very cheap either. So she's been waiting for it. I got to show it to her and she said also, it looks amazing. And I said, well, here's a great opportunity. You've been following Courtney for a long time. Do you have any listener questions for her? And she said, yes, without hesitating. Why does Courtney poke the bear so much on social media?
I can't help it. I'm just like, I don't know. I guess that's my personality. I'm just kind of sarcastic and snarky. And I don't know. They poke me first, so I just poke them back.
That's fair. They were wondering also if it was part of like American humor or whatever, but I know how much kind of negativity that you get in the space, which is so dumb. So I'm glad you're poking back in favor of the rest of us.
Yeah, you gotta have fun. You need to laugh so you don't cry, essentially.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, thank you for answering her question. I love that. I also got to run into you again this year at Hack Your Health. This year, I was primarily hanging out with James Lehman, the carnivorist, and Tony Pascola from Primal Foundations. We had an awesome time. It was great to see everybody. And James kind of hurried up to me at one point. He's like, hey, Courtney's going to be on stage. She's doing this food presentation. She's totally nervous that nobody's going to show up. So we're going to go and support our friend. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Let's go and like grab a chair. I'll be sure to be there like 10 minutes early so that, we can just sit like right in the front row, excuse me. Holy cow, Courtney, you had the place packed. There was barely standing room in that area. So many people were there. That was amazing.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I actually have the goosebumps now that you say that. Like, I totally felt the love. Like, everybody was so supportive, but it's also kind of like, everyone crowds the sample booths at Costco. Like, I think they also knew I was going to give out a taste test. So I think that's part of the reason. But yeah, I mean, it was amazing because I was so nervous. Oh my gosh. I get knots in my stomach just thinking about it. But yeah, it was amazing to like see the seats filled and everyone like hovering around. I'm like, okay, I can do this.
You did a great job. It was a great presentation. I like that you did admit that you were nervous. You said it in like the first minute or so as you were standing up there. But you did a great job. It didn't show that you were nervous. I would not have guessed that. You looked like you were in your natural habitat for sure. You did a great job.
Thanks. Yeah, sometimes I feel like you just have to like address the elephant in the room. Like, hi, I'm terrified to be here. So I just have to let you know. And then I kind of feel better. And now that I say that, so I feel like we're all in it together. And then I had my emotional support husband standing on the side of the stage. So that was nice too.
Jeff is awesome. I asked you before the call what he was doing, and unfortunately, he's not on, so you have to tell him hello. But yeah, he's awesome to hang out with as well. Really love both of you guys. So on that note, what I didn't get to taste it. You did biscuits and gravy. Is that correct? How did the recipe go?
Yeah, so I was debuting this recipe there. It's a brand new one for my book, but I was giving it to everybody at KetoCon, and yeah, make these little biscuits with pork panko, butter, and egg, and then the gravy is sausage with I think cream cheese and cream. I'm so glad to have my own book because I have to Google my recipes sometimes, you know. So it will be nice to be able to flip through it. Um, but it was a huge hit, and I mean, you can't go wrong when when something is slathered in dairy, you know? So, yeah, I'm glad everyone liked it because it's a little intimidating putting yourself out there and getting, like, something you've created reviewed. Like, if you don't like it, please don't tell me, I'm too sensitive for that, but yeah, it seemed like everyone liked it.
That's great. I get really self-conscious about sharing my food with other people too, so I totally understand that. But yeah, I didn't talk to anybody who didn't say that it was absolutely amazing. So great job there. Obviously, we're here to talk about your book, which is fabulous. Like I said, before we do, remind us who you are. It's been a while since you've been here. Episode 402 was almost 2 years ago, and I just have to say, you and I. Discussing that, you put together an awesome kind of 101 for people that wanted to try the carnivore diet. There was a lot of really practical stuff in there. So if anybody is curious about carnivore diet, that's one of my favorites to refer out to send to people, because you did such a great job like highlighting things and making things to be very simple and practical. But if you don't mind, remind us how you got into the space, and yeah, how you ended up becoming carnivore.
Yeah, so I started carnivore, it was about 2 years ago in May, and long history of yo-yo dieting. Like, I went to my first Weight Watchers meeting at the age of 13, and I wasn't even that overweight. I just, I thought my mom encouraged me to go, but she has since watched my interviews, and she's like, "I did not tell you to go, you asked to go." So we'll get that sorted right here. Um, so yeah, I mean, you name it, I've tried it, like Slim Fast Diet, Special K, the cereal, egg fast, cabbage soup, like just an unhealthy relationship with food. I think I got a little bit warmer as I found paleo, like Mark Sisson's book in 2010, I believe, Primal Blueprint. I'm like, oh, okay, tried that, dabbled in keto on and off for 7 years. And I stopped doing keto after my second baby. I lost 50 pounds again for like the third time. And I got caught up in the anti-diet culture BS. And I'm like, yeah, all foods fit, no foods are off the table, everything in moderation. Gained 40 pounds in 4 months. So my husband was sending me Dr. Paul Saladino's TikToks at the time for like a month. And finally, I'm like, why are you sending me these? Like, should we not be eating vegetables? I'm like, this is so weird. He's like, oh, I need to, go research it. So he goes to YouTube University, gets all the info, and he's like, let's try it. And I was just feeling so awful at the time, like sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, that I'm like, let's just give it a shot. So I was going into it for weight loss purposes. I don't think I ever thought like about my health. I think it was more like, oh, you have a good goal, you're at your goal weight, then you're healthy. So I got a lot of surprise benefits that I wasn't expecting because I wasn't really following influencers at the time. So I didn't know all the things that could come. So I'm down around like 55 pounds so far. I still have like maybe 10, 15 to go. We'll see how that goes. Um, like off of medication, my Zoloft for depression and anxiety. My acne has cleared up. I've had horrible skin my whole life. And, all the other ones like no gas and bloating and, just feeling good all the way around. And yeah, it's been life changing for me.
Yeah, okay. This might be an unfair question because these things go together. Like you lose weight and all these other things improve. But I'm just curious if I said you could choose one, like yes, you can lose the weight, but you keep all the acne and you're still on the medication and that kind of thing, or you don't lose any weight, but all of those other things improve. Which one would you choose now, being on this side of it?
All the health benefits. Yeah.
Wow,
I
wow.
mean, the mental health is so huge that I would be 50 pounds heavier again just to not have the issues that I had, like the dark times. I mean, I still have some anxious moments, but it's totally, totally different. I feel so much better.
I hope that really sinks in for the listener. I was hoping that was going to be how you answered that. I hope that sinks in because as somebody who has like literally only wanted to lose weight, found a diet that does that, but then fixes all these other things that are now more prized by you than the weight loss itself that you were seeking in the beginning. Yeah, I really hope that sinks in, and that does not surprise me at all. Being in this community, like seeing all the amazing stories of people out there. How has your carnivore diet evolved and changed over time? I know that when we talked before, I think you said you'd been doing more dairy than you had previously, and you didn't think it was going that well, and so you wanted to eliminate the dairy. But how's your carnivore diet shifted over time?
Yeah, I've actually got a little bit lenient lately, and I don't know why. I feel like it's easy to like let things slip in. And like in the beginning, I didn't even use seasonings. And now like I'll use seasonings here and there. I don't really feel like I like need them. I'm not craving them, but sometimes they're like, oh, they're good and I'll have some. And I've recently added in, like I've always done the unflavored protein. And recently I've had some with stevia. And it's like, but why am I doing this? You know? And then I'm almost like contemplating when I'm getting stuff for my kids, like, because they're not strict carnivore, like having a bite of something or like, one of their healthy chips. And I'm like, I never felt that before. So I'm kind of aware of like what's going on recently. Just, I don't know what it is, like just letting things slip. Now I'm not, having bites of other things, but it's been more tempting than normal. And I don't know why. So yeah, I am strictly animal products and meat. So I am having some dairy. I do keep it minimal. And yeah, I guess that's it. I just try and keep it simple and then I throw in, one of my fun recipes here and there, but it's not like I'm, making carnivore lasagna every night. We eat pretty simply for the most part.